Hey guys, Mario here, otherwise known as Y2 Money and Ribs, and welcome to another edition, and a second attempt, at the 52 review. So, I got 4 comics from last week that I'm going to talk about today, beginning with Batgirl number 7. Can I give you the short version of Batgirl number 7? It was a meh for me. Alright. I guess I should elaborate a little bit. So basically the issue starts off with Batgirl getting drowned by somebody who is a meta-human villain, which is an interesting development for Batgirl, but still, just like almost every other villain that she's faced so far, it's not really interesting. It's not. There needs to be a villain that shows up that we can say, oh, that's a Batgirl villain. That's totally something that is a perfect antagonizer for her. Gretel came close. It's a shame that she was only good for one issue. Adrian Seoff's art is still nailing it, but these last couple of issues have just been Granted, they're not as bad as issues 1 and 2 were, but there's nothing out there that's really making me say, hey, I totally can't wait to nab next month's issue, because man, I'm totally up about Batgirl. In fact, the B story that also happens in this issue, which is the return of someone close to Batgirl's life, is more interesting than the A story in this issue, which, well, you know that there's something wrong there. I really hope that there is a direction, there is something that's going to happen that will make Batgirl an interesting read. I know there's a lot of Batgirl fans out there, probably for others that have been Batgirl, but Barbara was the first, and you would think they would really make an effort to highlight that. Right now I'm just seeing a whole bunch of meh. Next up, Batman and Robin, number 7. Wow. So once upon a time, Detective Comics was the second best Batman comic in the new 52 next to the actual Batman comic. I think that the last couple of issues of Batman and Robin have contested that, and then along came Batman and Robin number 7 to completely confirm that fact. This is now the second best Batman comic series out there. In fact, considering how this issue played out, I would say that this is totally a comic worthy and equal to the Prime Batman comic series. Honestly, after this whole beating around the bush thing that's been going on between Bruce and Damian, the fact that something has happened, the fact that Damian is actually in peril by someone from Bruce's past who shouldn't be around, has made Bruce snap. He isn't Batman the vigilante crime fighter, he's Bruce Wayne the father trying to protect his son. The dialogue that he uses, like even saying he would be willing to kill to defend and protect his son, is just like, whoa, yeah, this is serious. The fact that there's a line that can be crossed that will make Batman say and really mean to follow through with that threat just opens up new avenues, I think, for future storylines. But going back to this one, I gotta say that despite the immense bit of action and fighting between Nobody and Batman, which is amazing how that plays out, and the dynamic and even a tender moment between Bruce and Damian that happens during the issue, and then of course the holy crap, whoops, or whatever other exclamation comes out of your mouth, game-changing moment that happens at the end of the issue, which will have pretty grave repercussions, I'm sure, in the next couple of issues of Batman and Robin. Well, all of that together makes for a really solid, no, not just a solid issue, a really fantastic issue. I love Patrick Gleason's artwork. It is best noir feel that has been constant in Batman and Robin. It's just been amazing. Honestly, I really can't tell you or even give you any hints as to what went down in this issue, but seriously, there will be repercussions to be dealt with, I'm sure, in the next couple. Fantastic issue. Next up is Batwoman number 7. So I have to tell you, I had to read this issue twice. Not necessarily because it was a bad issue. It wasn't. I mean, it's solid. It's just that there was a lot thrown, I feel, in this issue that I kind of had to read it again just to grasp it. Apparently, Batwoman is the place for all those urban legend boogeymen you've heard about or read about. It's interesting that there is actually an evil organization that actually gathers up these urban legend boogeymen around. And once again, I'm not complaining. I find that giving Batwoman a paranormal slant is an inspired choice and definitely an interesting one. And considering that she's still relatively new compared to the other established Bat characters, I am completely okay with this. And despite the fact that we were all spoiled with J.H. Williams' artwork, I am enjoying Amy Reeder's artwork. It's actually looking like a very good, solid comic. It's really a shame that she's going to be leaving after issue 8. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but she left, and that's all we know. Creative differences, I believe, is the words that have been thrown around. So, there you go. I love the character dynamics. I love that Kate is more than just a one-dimensional person. Well, the same can be said for anybody in this comic series, really. The only thing I don't like is that Kate is such a strong, fierce, independent individual. Despite the fact that the last couple of issues the DEO basically have her in the palm of their hands, it doesn't feel right. I mean, she should be doing things that she should be tackling, that she should want to tackle. I just hope it gets resolved soon. It just feels a little off to me. I understand that it has to happen for the sake of story, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. Still, as I've said before, even the worst issue of Batwoman in this run is still far better than a lot of other decent issues in other comics. So, honestly, I really can't wait to see what comes next for Batwoman. And finally, to the surprise of no one, my pick for this edition of the 52 review, Green Lantern #7. It is so great to have Doug Mahnke back covering the artwork for this series. There's just some individuals that are just perfect for certain comic series, and Doug Mahnke is perfect for Green Lantern. Geoff Johns, I'm really loving what he's done with Sinestro, and despite the fact that Hal Jordan is still very much relevant and around and a core character, he seems to be the one that's in it for the ride, the passenger, not the driver. That seems to be more Sinestro's thing. And I have no problem with this. I'm also glad because myself, and I'm sure many others, are incredibly curious about the origins and secrets of the Indigo Tribe. This is lame, and I'm still holding the pose. Really, the only thing I know about them, they're indigo. They represent compassion, and they like to say knock a lot. Okay, I know there's a little bit more to it than that, but compared to other Lantern Corps, we really don't know a lot about them. The only other thing we know about them is that their words, their catchphrase contains the word Abensur, which was the Green Lantern that lived for all of 5 minutes in the series before Hal inherited his ring. So what is the Indigo Tribe's tie to Abensur? What is their secret? What is their origin? And why the hell is Black Hand amongst them, who looks to be like a lobotomized slave? And what are their plans for Sinestro? Because things went down as Sinestro was trying to recruit Hal by force, which is usually how he's done it before. The Indigo Tribe came to have some words with Sinestro, and by having some words I meant jumping him and bounding him and taking him back to their homeworld. Now, considering what's been going on with Black Hand, I'm a little concerned. Also, Sinestro mentions that he saw the Book of the Black, and that stuff, serious stuff, is going to go down unless he and Hal do something about it. I'm really enjoying Geoff Johns making this series about the characters first, and highlighting a character that everyone really thought in the past was the Snidely Whiplash kind. I mean, for crying out loud, his name is Sinestro. And now that Johns has established who Sinestro is and where he stands in this series, and Hal as well, and a little bit of Carol, which, for those of you that have been wondering, what the hell has she been doing not being a Star Sapphire? Well, let's just say your question will be answered rather quickly in this issue. But yeah, we know where they stand and where they and how they're established in this series. So that leaves Johns with no choice but to open up the scope and create an epic storyline, which he's pretty much already doing so. And I feel that the Indigo Tribe is just but the first step into a much larger world. I can't believe I just quoted Star Wars. But hey, it was not a bad quote, so I'm going to stick with it. Really, this entire series has been nothing short of amazing, and the same can be said about its latest issue. Can't wait to see what comes next. I honestly can't. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and you can probably say the words with me now. Everybody all together now. There is a reason why this is one of my top 6 DC comic series. Very good, kids. Alright guys, I do apologize for making this one a little bit tardy, but I had to make sure that it was actually halfway decent. So, that's it for now. As always, if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, complaints about anything that I've reviewed here today, make sure to drop them down in the commentary plot. I do read them, and I really try to get back to you ASAP. Comic-Con was fun as hell. I really enjoyed myself. And I'm glad that I brought a lot of friends along for the ride, and I'm really glad that they enjoyed themselves as well. So that does it for now. As always, live nerdcore. Y2M out.